Hold on, Jonah. Yes, I think it is. Yes, love.
Why can we not get it?
For now, we got 3 more minutes. I think people are nervous because of the weather forecast, which should be fine tonight. Uh-oh, I lost it.
What will be fine tonight?
The weather should be fine tonight, but in the morning we'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be here in the morning, but I will be.
So should I tell them not to come? Or do you have to be here in the morning? No, but I was going to be here. I made a whole big deal like, oh, it's the record personnel, which is fun. They're going to vote with their feet.
That's true. The question is, are you voting with your feet?
I don't care. As long as I go slow, I should be fine. Yes. We're not having newspaper in the sanctuary today because you can play with the silly putty, but we're not making a big deal about it, okay? That's a project for later. You know whose coat this is? Here, I'll show you what that guy. So that's fine. If you'll just read this English and then light the candles, and I'll tell Tanner he's on Hebrew duty. You should push that button, and then it works. Yep. And it's an electric lighter. It's cool. Mira found a very cool toy.
Okay. All right, so it's just over here as these Shabbat candles can light? Sure.
Yep. English, Shabbat candles, Tanner will do the rest. Thank you. There you go. You know what Jonah asked again? He said, can we sit in the front?
If you were on
Hi, Adria. I made you co-host. If you don't mind monitoring the waiting room, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Hi.
Hi, Arlene. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. It's
Hanging in there.
good to see you.
You too. Someday we'll see each other in person.
Someday, someday.
I hope it's soon.
I agree with you. Completely agree with you.
How's your family? Good?
Everybody's good, thank you.
Yeah. My granddaughter Claire, has COVID.
Oh, dear.
She's quarantined. She said her whole floor. She's a freshman in college.
Oh, wow.
So they're all quarantining for 10 days.
Oh, gee. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what's happening on the college campuses.
Yeah.
Was she vaccinated?
Benny was asking, was she vaccinated?
Yes, definitely.
And she'll
All
probably
three.
she'll have
What
a
college? What college?
Springfield College in Massachusetts.
nice.
So she's a freshman.
Good for her. She'll have a mild case, I'm sure. She'll feel a little achy.
Yes, she said she just feels like she has a cold. She's all congested.
Yeah.
But other than that, she feels okay.
She'll be fine in a couple of days.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
We're good. We're good, thanks.
Hi, Okay.
You having a good time in California?
Are we ever? If we got any more laid back, we'd be sleeping.
Yeah, missing a lot of cold and rain.
Yes, oh, I know. I keep tabs. It makes us feel even better. Sorry. Actually, I'm one of those winter girls. I happen to love the winter, but not so much Drew.
Not I.
Yeah. I was hoping you could see out of our window.
Oh, it's beautiful and the sun's still shining.
Kiddish.
Yeah,
You're gonna help me with Kiddish, you said.
we're right on a golf course. We get to watch them all.
Are you gonna do kiddos right now?
Right.
Oh,
Grass
but
out there.
looking up here.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we seem to be on the screen, so I think we should all mute ourselves at this point.
Yeah, good thinking.
The whole place to ourselves. Just don't knock the juice over.
Why do you have a glass here?
That is to keep our germs over here and their germs over there. It's called plexiglass.
And why
Smile
do
at daddy and say cheese.
And why do they not have it?
Because they're the band, and that's why we tested them. I didn't test
Why?
because I have my spit shield.
Maybe put yours on.
Big screen.
Look, it made a necklace.
Ooh.
10 years old and I was on Wonderama on Sunny Fox on Channel 5.
Hi, baby. Hi.
Yeah, they're ready to go. We're just getting settled, friends.
You on TV?
We're even.
I'm
Go,
the only
go
one-
for it.
Mommy,
Yeah.
I'm the only one allowed to stay here for kiddos.
Let's play it by ear, okay? If I say you have to go down, then you have to go down, okay?
Okay.
But for now, you can stay up.
Okay.
We can't talk once the service starts.
Okay.
We can sing, we can dance.
You ready?
But I have somebody to calm me down. Exactly. That's why I wanted it, because I wanted to play.
Sorry, buddy.
What?
Shabbat Shalom. I am Dan Valentine on behalf of Congregation Beth Chaim. It's an honor to welcome you to our service this evening. As we Zoom from the sanctuary, I have some information to share. Security is on top of our minds right now. The board members are monitoring the door, but each of you are part of our security team. Please keep your eyes open. If you see something unusual, please say something. You can reach out to our staff or board or call 911. There are panic buttons on the bima in the office and with the board member on duty. If you're wearing a hearing aid with a T-coil setting, you may access our hearing loop using our program. We do have headphones for those without the program. The large print prayer books are available as well. These are located on the table at the entrance to the sanctuary. We want to create a sacred space that will inspire prayer. Please silence or turn off your cell phones at this time so you will not be distracted. We ask that you keep your mask on, covering your mouth and your nose the entire time you are in the building. If you're on Zoom, please stay muted unless clergy invites you to unmute and participate. We may be physically separated from one another, but we are one community in prayer and celebration. Now I'd like to share something about my Jewish experience, which I have on my phone. Excuse me for a second. On the Shabbat brings back a memory for me. 26 years ago, 1996, a couple weeks before Robin and I got married, I believe that we had the first Ufruf at Beth Chaim. A few weeks earlier, my family arranged an Ufruf at an Orthodox synagogue that we belonged to, that I grew up in. And of course, being Orthodox, we separated men and women, so it was only me on the bima to get pegged by the little kids with their candy. Well, if you know Robin, and if you knew her parents, we were gonna have an Ufruf here at Beth Chaim. So on this Shabbat, 26 years ago, was our Ufruf. Good memory for me. Shabbat Shalom. Now we can move into the sacredness of the Shabbat. Please join us in song and prayer. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Shalit, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Lochem Shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem v'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Welcome to the minion we have in our sanctuary tonight, and all of our friends on Zoom and YouTube. I bet you're really enjoying being at home dry and warm, and may you stay that way, nice and safe. I think we'll be good for tonight. We'll see what happens overnight. We're celebrating February birthdays and anniversaries this evening, so quite a lot to celebrate. And I don't know about you, but TGIF, thank God it's Friday. So we're going to continue with welcoming in Shabbat. I've got my special helper, Jonah, with me tonight. And I'm going to invite Andrew Mandel to share a reading for us on page 3 and light the Sabbath lights.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
No, you light, and then Cantor's got your back.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now I'll ask everyone who's able to please rise for Kiddush. Thank you, Andrea. Sean, you're welcome to join us on the Bima as we express our gratitude that we've reached this sacred day of Shabbat. All right, ready? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon yinhilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, kivanu b'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava u'ratzon yinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim. All right. welcome to take a seat as we turn to Lecha Dodi. We are so glad our beloved Shabbat has arrived.
It's not happy. Ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat lekabel, la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat lekabel. שמור וזכור בליבו אחד השמיענו המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו תפארת ונבדילה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה יאללה לך דודי יאללה לקראת קלה יאללה בני שבת לקבל לך דודי יאללה לקראת קלה יאללה בני שבת
I invite you to turn to your neighbors, greet them Shabbat Shalom. On Zoom, you can chat, you can unmute. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbat.
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Who are called to worship as we stay standing.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yitbaro ma'ariv aravim, ma'ariv aravim. You called the world into being, spread all the stars in the heavens above. You made the morning and evening, surrounding us daily with signs of your love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yitbaro ma'ariv aravim, ma'ariv aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yitbaro ma'ariv aravim, ma'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, u'kim u'mishpatim, otanu limadta, otanu limadta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu v'shokbeinu v'kumeinu, v'siach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, יהיו חיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, נגי יומם בלילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. למען תזכרו מה עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Every journey of liberation crosses the sea, pursued by a vicious past, surrounded by fragile miracles, on a steady march to an unknown destination. Every journey of liberation begins at midnight, in the darkest hour of oppression, with the blood of sacrifice.
Let me have the ski on for Mars, please.
Sing a song of salvation, a song of absolution, benevolence, and compassion, of deliverance, freedom, and emancipation, of power, rescue, and release, of pardon, restoration, and reprieve, of the might and the mercy of our Maker, of God's generosity and grace. Let every journey of liberation end on the opposite shore, exhausted but jubilant, on the edge of an undiscovered land, with shouts of joy and delight, when our struggle leads to redemption. Everyone on Zoom is good. Friends in the sanctuary, the screen is not with us, but if you'd like to follow along the prayer book, page 42. I think this crowd knows generally, but page 42.
We can pass on that.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים והארץ ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעזור את השבת לדורות ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש וביום השביעי שבת וירא ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת ברית עולם.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. I invite everyone who's able to please rise for the Amidah. And once again, we face Jerusalem, and I'm going to ask student Rabbi Blum to please return to his seat.
I'm trying to get the handle.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Ufi Agi Tehidatecha Ufi Agi Tehidatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Sfatai Tika. Na 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 Ufi Agi Tehidatecha Ufi Agi Tehidatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaKadosh Gibor HaYodah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Riponei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated as we continue on page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. We turn to our prayers of gratitude, Modim Anachnu Lach, and it is a shame that we can't see all the wonderful names that we are celebrating tonight here in the sanctuary, but I hope that friends will let us know if they're celebrating anything. We're going to start with anniversaries tonight. We're very grateful to be celebrating all of the couples in our congregation who got married in the month of February, including Mira Berzovsky and her husband Eric, Robin and Dan Valentine. Anyone else in this room? I don't think so. I wasn't surprised that the January and February lists were a little bit shorter, but that's okay. It's special. So for all of those, may this coming year of marriage be happy and healthy and filled with good surprises and blessings. And so we'll express our gratitude that you got married this month now. And next we have February birthdays, and we have several screens to acknowledge those. Anyone in the sanctuary who's celebrating a birthday this month? Well, it just so happens Sean and I both have a grandparent celebrating a birthday this month, and they are both turning 93 years young. God bless them, doing well, living on their own, driving of all things, just not as much at night. It's okay, it's okay. And I don't think she made it to the screen, but Eliza Berzofsky also celebrated her birthday today with a pizza party at our preschool, 3 years old. And have we reached all of the screens so far? We have, so we're gonna say thank you. We're so grateful you were born this month. And now any other blessings that we wanna celebrate together. I'm grateful for the band. Gabe doesn't know what he's missing. Anything else we're grateful for? Friends on Zoom, you're welcome to chat in. Anything grateful that Jonah's rocking out with us tonight? Any other blessings? Grateful for us who were able to make it in person. We'll pause to say thank you. And what is the gratitude coming in from Zoom? All right, I'll take it. I'm grateful to Cantor Binder and the Shabbataks. Grateful to Memorial Sloan Kettering and so many other health institutions that care for those with cancer. Yeah. All right, so family birthdays this month. Any more? Good health. Amen. We turn to page 60 for Shalom Rav, our prayer for peace, for wholeness and healing. May this great peace come quickly, speedily in our day.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Tov enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Tov enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim Me'olam. Baruch atah שלום רב על ישראל עמך, טסים לעולם, טסים לעולם, טסים לעולם.
Take a few moments for silent prayer to offer up our own hopes and dreams, to find inspiration from the screen or in our prayer books, or to simply sit in silence. Our thoughts now turn to all those whom we know and whom we don't, in need of healing. Healing of the body, healing of the mind, healing of the heart, and healing of the soul. Our friends on Zoom and YouTube are seeing a whole host of names of people in our community or our loved ones who are in need of healing. And I'll ask those in the sanctuary if you'd like to add to those names.
Zahava Bar Rivka.
And for all those names that we do not know, who didn't make it to the screen, who may have been typed in the chat box, we dedicate this prayer of healing to you and to them. As I turn to my teaching canner, maybe you can tinker in the closet and we'll get the screen back up and running. And if not, we'll just keep winging it. The computer seems to have gotten stuck. This past week was a challenging one for the Jewish people in the news. First, Whoopi Goldberg was suspended for 2 weeks over erroneous remarks she made on The View about the Holocaust. On Monday's episode of the ABC News talk show, Whoopi, who is not Jewish despite her full stage name, stated that the Holocaust was not about race, it is about man's inhumanity to other man. This comment came during a discussion on a Tennessee school board's decision to ban Maus, a graphic novel depicting the Nazi death camps in World War II. Both the book banning and Whoopi's historically inaccurate statement shed light on recent trends in our country and across the globe to misremember the Holocaust, to hide its uglier parts that are upsetting but need to come to light, and even to deny the truth about this dark period of human history. In response to Whoopi's words, the US Holocaust Museum tweeted that racism was central to Nazi ideology. Jews were not defined by religion, but by race. Nazi racist beliefs fueled genocide and mass murder. Any serious student of World War II would be able to tell you the same. ABC News President Kim Godwin called Whoopi's comments wrong and hurtful, and I want to believe that they were born of simple ignorance. If that is the case, then this is exactly why we need the Holocaust to be taught in schools without whitewashing its horrors. Whatever Whoopi's intentions, I fear something far more insidious than lack of education is going on behind the scenes across the globe. After this incident on television, the Jewish world erupted when Amnesty International released a report entitled, "Israel's Apartheid Against Palestinians, Cruel System of Domination and Crime Against Humanity." Every American Jewish denomination and many other organizations responded to this report, denouncing it as damaging and dangerous, distorting information that could fuel anti-Semitism around the world. Tonight, I would like to share with you the Reform Movement statement, of which I'm very proud. We strongly reject this report. It is replete with discredited and inaccurate allegations, including a deeply wrong accusation of apartheid. This report reflects Amnesty's inability to comprehend the history, context, and nuance of the situation in Israel and the Palestinian Authority, or the very real threats to Israel's survival and security that it has faced from its very founding. The report comes at a moment when Israel is making significant diplomatic progress with its Arab neighbors via the Abraham Accords, and has seen the robust public political participation of its Arab Palestinian citizens, who make up 20% of its population. The report also comes at a moment when anti-Semitism worldwide is rising, and we are deeply concerned that this report will encourage those who seek to fan its flames. Crucially, the term apartheid comes with a false equivalency to the institutions of formal and rigid segregation, denial of political and social rights, and basic dehumanization practiced by the South African regime over decades. Whatever Amnesty's intent to differentiate the usage of apartheid from its most common association with South Africa, they have failed. Those who seek to delegitimize Israel's very existence will cite this report as equating Israel with South Africa as an apartheid state to justify encouraging anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. Amnesty's failures to address Israel's legitimate security concerns and the very real genocidal threats it faces, its call for a full return of refugees and for reparations, its support for BDS and the economic and diplomatic isolation of Israel, its implication that Israel's very founding and continuation as a Jewish state was a violation of the Apartheid Convention, its failure to place any responsibility on the PA for the change of conditions that could allow for greater rights and safety for all, and the failure to recognize that only a two-state solution can best resolve the concerns addressed in this report, each and every one of these endanger the existence of a Jewish democratic state of Israel. As the largest religious and Zionist movement in Jewish life in North America, committed to Israel's Jewish as well as its democratic character, which must ensure the civil, political, and human rights of all its citizens, we call on our governments in the US and Canada to reject the central premise of this report and to continue the important work of fostering the conditions for peace between Israel and the Palestinians. I was also touched by a powerful message sent by the Consulate General of Israel in New York, which connected the dots between several other recent events. A few days after International Holocaust Remembrance Day, we once again learned that anti-Semitism is not just a part of history, but unfortunately is also part of today's reality. Just last weekend, Jews were attacked in London simply because they were Jewish. Amnesty's report effectively serves as a green light for the perpetrators and others to harm not only Israel, but Jews around the world. Ask any parent of a Jewish teenager or child in New York City, and they'll tell you the same. They encourage their children not to wear any Jewishly identifying marks while riding the subway. I must admit that I am hearing all of this very differently after Rabbi Charlie Citron Walker stared down the barrel of a gun in his synagogue sanctuary only 3 weeks ago. That gunman was led to Congregation Beth Israel in Colleyville, Texas, because of anti-Semitic misinformation and rhetoric. We have renewed our focus on security here at Congregation Beth Chaim, including a training for staff and leaders just last night because of rising rates of anti-Semitism in the US and abroad. And the theme that has run through my mind as I review this week's newsreel was beautifully articulated by Godwin at ABC. Words matter, and we must be cognizant of the impact our words have. Many of us know that the childhood adage, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me," has never been true. The words we use, especially by people in positions of power, have incredible consequences, some good and some nefarious. As survivors of the Holocaust continue to pass away, removing us further from the living memory of this atrocity, it has become easier and easier to use words to erase or edit the trauma of the Jewish people. Too many have forgotten or ignored why the UN voted to establish a Jewish state in Palestine in 1947, why Jews around the world needed a nation where they were unequivocally welcome. As a religious leader, I try to be very careful with my words. When I misspeak, I work to correct my error immediately. I know that my words matter, and so I ask you to join me tonight in speaking out against words that harm. Words that falsify facts, words that rewrite history, words that encourage hate, words that incite violence. Let us also denounce words that reinforce ignorance, that stymie curiosity, that bolster previously conceived notions that threaten to tear us apart. Instead, let us shout words of uplift, words of love, words of life, words of care, words of concern, words of compassion. I'm grateful to my colleagues who have used their words in powerful and productive ways this week, words that have given me strength and inspiration. To conclude my words this evening, I invite you to join me for the prayer for the state of Israel in our prayer books on page 259. This prayer, and on the screen. This prayer acknowledges Israel's imperfection, but it affirms our commitment to Israel as a Jewish and democratic state and asks God for continuous blessings upon all its people. And if you feel so moved, I invite you to stand as we turn to these poignant words of hope and faith. Page 259. O Heavenly One, and you're welcome to join me, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. And we turn to Aleinu, a continuation on the theme that it's up to us to do the work. We can't just assume God will do it for us.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגבי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Miracles can start out as tiny things, specks of God's love floating all around us, shimmering at a frequency just beyond human sight. But when, like a dewdrop catching sunshine, a miracle enters light from heaven, it shines briefly like a firefly to remind you that you're not alone. Follow the light, for the specks of the divine can be coaxed into your heart, where they will shine brilliant, radiant forever. As we turn to Mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to stand as any names of loved ones are called, your loved ones. And for friends on Zoom, you're welcome to use the raise the hand feature if you'd like to be acknowledged as one of our members of the community in mourning. We honor one who died this week, Arnold Bornstein, father of Brian Bornstein, one whose loved ones are in the period of Shiva, the first 7 days of mourning, our congregant Joseph Burns, father of Stephen and Rebecca Burns, and 3 whose loved ones are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning. We remember Sue Cutel, wife of Eric Cutel, Eleanor Resnick Tolstick, mother of Doug Resnick, Kimberly Bronski, daughter of Terry and Mark Steinberg, niece of Kent and Barbara Hochberg. And remember the following yard sites, the anniversary of the passing of these loved ones: Robert Ransky, George Fenster, Francis Saltzman, Ellie Ackerman, Evelyn Kaplan, Leonard Hittner, Marion Lubin, Sam Mead, Alan Abner, Mildred Purr, Morton Gukowski, Marvin Rosengarten, Audrey Seltzer, Mildred Nathanson, Pearl Kelly, Clara Durlacher, and Herbert Rosenblum. For all those and many more, feel free to add names in the chat box. We rise as one community and recite the words of Mourner's Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei kudasha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may the memory of all of our loved ones be a blessing. Please be seated as I invite Dan back up during his anniversary month to share a few announcements with us.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Blum, Cantor Binder, and the Shabbat Band for another spirited service. We hope you found this experience to be uplifting and meaningful.
Just raise the microphone for us, Dan.
I'm sorry.
So it's right by your mouth. All right.
I'm right on it. Thank you to Mira and Adria for your assistance as tech experts tonight. I am Dan Valentine, trustee on the temple board. And after services, I am happy to speak with you. and answer any questions you might have or listen to any comments about the synagogue. I will be in the lobby in a few minutes. It's another busy weekend at Congregation Beth Chaim. Torah study is held every Shabbat morning at 8:45. This week we're in person and on Zoom. Religious school is in session on Sunday at 9 a.m., followed by Zoom school at noon. Bagels and blocks will meet by Zoom only. Swimming in the Sea of Talmud will meet in person and on Zoom at 9:30. Tikkun Olam will meet on Zoom at 11 a.m., and Bikti will meet in person at 1. Also, watch your email and website for details on the upcoming 50th anniversary events. Next Friday night, we'll celebrate our members who joined Beth Chaim in the 80s. Bring your leg warmers, faded jean jackets, and your friends as we stroll down memory lane. We are welcoming artists in residence, Hanach Piven from Israel, on March 11th through 13th as we honor the many years of service Ann Berman Waldorf has given into our congregation. We will hold a congregational picnic at the JCC camp on April 10th, and mentalist Sidney Friedman will join us on May 14th. We are a very active, inclusive, and diverse congregation. Please check our website, bethchaim.org, to see a listing of all our many classes, meetings, activities through the week. Shabbat Shalom. Stay safe, stay warm.
Thanks, Dan. We're going to end out on a high note with Or Zerua. Light is sown for the righteous, joy for the upright. Can we hear it for Cliff Hochberg on drums? Dan Berg on the piano. Lead vocals and guitar, Cantor Stuart Binder. And my backup dancer, Jonah Michael Blum. And we'll conclude tonight with a prayer invoking our ancestors who used to shower each other with these same words.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless us and protect us.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God's light shine upon us and may God be gracious to us.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom.
May you always feel that God's presence is near, and may you be blessed with the greatest gift of all, the gift of peace.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Igor, and be safe.